Okay, so let's go through a very core teaching first of all to make sure you understand some absolute core principles of what's involved here. And what I want to share with you first of all is the idea of what I call TFB loops. Now, every single issue that somebody has in their life, your life, my life, we've all been through these things. Every single issue will follow a certain pattern. And it's very, very simple when you can understand the pattern. First of all, there will be something that someone thinks. That will lead to something they feel, feelings or emotions, or something they feel inside. And that will then create some kind of behavior or lack of behavior in some way. Okay, so thoughts, feelings, behaviors, this is the way it happens. And most people seeking help are trying to change something about the way they think, something about the way they feel, or something about the way they behave. And it's always in that order. Thoughts come first, then feelings, then behaviors. Now, I know some people will say, hang on, that's not true, because I find myself just feeling something or doing something without even realizing it. What usually happens there is that thought is so fast, we're not even aware of it. However, what we are then aware of is the secondary effect. Because we have these thoughts which create feelings, which create behaviors, and then the feelings and the behaviors themselves then loop back and create another level of thoughts and another level of feelings. So we get this two layers. And many people are so busy trying to deal with the second level, the second layer, they're not actually aware of the first layer that's going on. So something we have to do is understand both layers of a problem. And sometimes there's many different layers. But if you can just get this concept, first of all, of thoughts, feelings and behaviors which kind of feed back on themselves, then we can begin to really understand how problems are created and what we actually need do, or what people need do to make a difference and change them and create a lasting change. Because if we apply this to some examples now, you'll understand how this can impact so many different people in so many different ways. And each of these, in a way, is an opportunity for you to work with a wide range of people, or a very narrow group of people, depending on what your particular interest is. So first of all, think about a range of personal problems people may have. Anger, personal issues, things that are going on that cause them to feel upset, and a whole range of different feelings and emotions there. Again, we've got these thoughts and feelings and behaviors that are impacting them and impacting their life. And when we can access this system and change how someone thinks and feels and behaves, then those personal problems can very often disappear or reduce or disappear dramatically. Same with fear and anxiety. It's estimated somewhere in excess of 65 million people in Europe and the US suffering with anxiety in various forms or other. And fears and anxieties are people's thoughts creating feelings, which then creates behaviors or lack of behaviors. Same with trauma. When people have been through traumas in their childhood or at any stage in their life, that trauma creates an idea within someone. Thoughts, feelings, behaviors then follow from it. And when you can impact those, you can make a difference. Same with stress. Think about what stress is. Stress is when we perceive a situation as becoming unachievable, undoable. We are overwhelmed. We're not able to meet the challenge, shall we say. So our thoughts begin to get fear-based and panicky. We create stress inside, and that then influences what we're feeling and what we're doing and feeds back on itself again. So when we can interrupt this process, we can help people reduce stress. Now, habits, there are a wide range of habits, from skin picking and nail biting and smoking and all those kind of things. And the problem people have with changing habits is not so much the habit itself, it's just that when they try and stop changing the habit, it's the thoughts and feelings that arise then. Those thoughts and feelings then influence how they behave as a result of trying to stop that habit. And that is the key area we need to focus on. And when you know how to focus on that area, you can help people change habits very quickly. Another area I've enjoyed working with is sports performance. I've worked with a number of champions in the field of sports there. Everyone knows nowadays a positive mental attitude is very important in sport. And when you can help someone consistently maintain a high degree of positive mental attitude and deal with any inner blocks inside that may have been holding them back, they can begin to achieve incredible results and fulfill their true potential in their chosen field. And the same is true in the business world. Many business owners I've worked with have been limited by their own thoughts, feelings and behaviors. And when we can access at the right level to help them change how they think, change how they feel, change how they behave, their businesses have dramatically expanded as well. Now, it's not just adults that suffer, of course, and many children are going through problems either directly or indirectly. Sometimes the problems are still occurring, sometimes they're ones that have happened in their own past. So issues such as bullying at school, separation anxiety, bedwetting, nightmares, all these kind of things, for example, are where the child is having thoughts, creating feelings, which is influencing their behavior. Children don't want to go to school because of fear and anxiety, for example. If we can understand what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what's creating it, we can help them begin to change it. And I've helped many children over the years overcome quite long-standing problems. Sometimes they're just 1 or 2 hours of treatment. Speech is another area, and things like stuttering and stammering, for example, can cause huge problems and trigger anxiety in their own right. But if you can think of it in terms of TFB loops, again, at some level there's a thought there creating a feeling which is influencing a behavior. In these cases, the behavior is the speech. Most people with speech impediments of various forms can actually speak very fluently or normally when they're by themselves or they're out of a pressure situation. So when you can help them change how they think and feel about the situation, their speech pattern begins to change as well. Same with public speaking. Many people can talk absolutely fine under normal circumstances, but you put them in front of an audience and they freeze on the spot because their mind is no longer focusing on what they need to focus on. It's focusing on what people are thinking of them. Are they going to mess up? Are they going to make a mistake? It's all these kind of ideas. So the thought influences how they feel, which influences how they behave. So instead of just being able to talk about their topic comfortably and easily, they go into fight or flight mode and start becoming stressed and tense and anxious. Physical problems, physical ailments is a whole different area. And we're becoming more and more aware nowadays of the impact of our mind on our body. Not just stress and anxiety, but also much more subtle effects of long-term stress, long-term anxiety, long-term issues suppressed inside, long-term anger issues, for example, which has a detrimental effect on the immune system and a whole range of bodily systems there, as well as natural pain relief and a whole load of other related areas we can work in, including IBS, for example, irritable bowel syndrome. And when you can tap into the underlying psychological causes behind these physical conditions, many of these physical conditions can begin to ease or disappear. Sexual problems are also another area where there is so much opportunity for helping so many people. We all know how performance anxiety can kick in different areas of life. And in the sexual area, this is extremely true because our thoughts there can influence feelings, and that literally stops us being able to perform or enjoy what should be the most intimate and pleasurable moments. So when we can help someone transform how they think and feel in those intimate sexual situations, then they can relax and be themselves. The majority of these sexual problems can just disappear and fade away very, very quickly, allowing someone to feel much more calm and relaxed and at ease with themselves in sexual situations. Weight loss is another area where there are a vast number of people struggling to make changes, and sometimes it's very simple, it's just conditioning and habits. Sometimes there are emotional forces at play as well. And again, once you can understand how someone is thinking and feeling and the impact on their behavior, then you can begin to have an impact on the outcome. And if that's to do with changing how they think about food or changing what they eat, for example, then weight loss can be a natural result. A step up from that might be eating disorders, comfort eating, binge eating, bulimia, things like that. All these are where someone's thoughts and feelings are influencing how they behave around food, eating more than they need, eating to change how they feel. Again, once you can tap into that process and help them think differently, feel differently, their behavior can begin to change. And I've worked with many, many people with eating disorders over the years with great success. Another area is pregnancy and hypnobirthing. And I've helped many, many people through numerous stages, from dealing with the stresses and strains of trying to get pregnant but can't, and dealing with pregnancy itself, and then dealing with the birth through hypnobirthing. Hypnobirthing is becoming more and more popular nowadays. So that's another area where there are thousands and thousands of people who are seeking help, whether they're first-time mums-to-be or whether they've been through a birth before and maybe it was difficult and they want it to be easier this time, just looking for some help there. So I've given you just a handful of topic areas to show you how people's thoughts, feelings and behaviors are influencing their everyday lives. And each of these is an area where we can have a huge impact once we know how to tap into these TFB loops. Let's have a quick look at that now. The real key to transforming these TFB loops is not just about telling someone to think differently. How many times have you tried that yourself with someone and they go and do exactly the same thing they've always done? What you have to do is tap into the thing behind it, the thing causing it, and that is a person's belief system. You see, a person's belief system is what generates those thoughts in the first place. And then the thoughts lead to feelings, which lead to behaviors. Now, a person's belief system is very unique and very personal to the individual. 2 or 3 different people in the same room, in the same situation with very different belief systems can react to the same situation very differently. Somebody walks in looking a certain way, One person can be relaxed, another person can be extremely stressed, another person could find it funny, for example, all depending on what that person's belief system is. Okay, so if we want to bring about changes in ourselves or changes in others, we have to understand their belief system. Many people in the therapy business don't take this into account and wonder why they get limiting results. But when you understand belief systems and how they come about, how they form and the impact they have, and you know how to access them and help people change them, then you really have a key for unlocking so many different areas of people's lives. And this leads me on to this very unique approach I developed, because at some point during my 30 years or so of practicing, I realized that even though I had this label of hypnotherapist or hypnotist, most of the time I wasn't actually hypnotizing people. I was doing the complete opposite. I was actually de-hypnotizing people. You see, most people have a problem because life has hypnotized them to believe something that isn't necessarily true. And as a result of that, they have thoughts, they have feelings, they have behaviors which then seem to be problems or symptoms in their life. For example, a young child who is criticized and made to feel ashamed, for example, will have very different beliefs than a child who is supported and validated through their daily life. Each will grow up with a different set of beliefs there, and that will influence how they think about themselves, how they think about the world, how they feel and how they behave. So someone who's encountering symptoms or problems in their life, it's highly likely that somewhere they have limiting beliefs created by life, cause them to believe something which is making them think something, feel something and do something. Okay, so once you start unpicking it, it all becomes kind of fairly simple, fairly obvious in a way. So understanding a person's belief system and understanding how life has hypnotized them in the first place helps us understand where we need to look if we want to make a difference. Now, many hypnotherapists, for example, don't even bother with that. They say, you've got a certain problem, okay, I'll read a script to you and we'll hope it hits home and makes it better. Okay, I tried that and it works sometimes, but it also doesn't work a lot of the time, because unless that script actually gets to the bottom of what's really causing it, the person's belief system isn't going to change. That type of hypnotherapy is called clinical hypnosis, clinical hypnotherapy, suggestion therapy, by the way. A different type of hypnotherapy which aims to understand the causes, what's making that happen? Why is the person feeling this way? That's called more hypnoanalysis or analytical hypnotherapy, where we're digging into the causes of where a person learned to think and feel that way. Where did life hypnotize this person? And can we go there to undo it? Right? And that can be extremely effective as well. And sometimes people get a little bit kind of polarized about this, saying it should be this way, it should be that way. I've been very fortunate, I think. I've had my interests have been in both camps, so I've learned both and I always teach both kind of approaches on my courses. But I hope you understand now that these symptoms, these problems people have, don't just appear. There's a pathway. And once you understand that pathway and you know how to influence it, to bring about a change for that person and with that person, you can begin to help an incredible range of people be free of an incredible range of symptoms and problems they're going through in their life, often very, very quickly. Now, when you're first starting out, it can be difficult to think, well, what do I do? What do I choose? Do I do all these things or do I just choose one of these? And that leads me on to something that I think is very, very important nowadays. And that is, if you can find an area that you're interested in and you can specialize in that area, you can immediately stand out as an expert in your field, and that will rapidly accelerate your success levels when you're first starting out. Or if you've already been practicing for a while and looking to enhance your results, specializing can be a great way to do that. Many people say, well, how do I choose? How do I know what to specialize in? And I can tell you the answer is always very, very simple. It's very, very clear. And I'll explain that to you later on. And on my training courses, we always help people extract that so they know exactly what the right thing to do is. So to bring this part of the training to a close, I want you to understand there are incredible opportunities available to you when you know how to make a difference to someone. And making a difference to someone is much easier than what people realize when you know where to look. And it's not necessarily a case of being clever in a way to make a change. It's being very, very simple. It's just knowing the right place to look to undo what's creating the problem in the first place. We'll dig a little deeper into this and reveal more about that secret success tip number 2.